There we go. Sorry about that. My mic was not hooked up right for whatever reason. Anyway, welcome back to the Sylva Overland Railway. It is early in the morning on day 3. We've brought our logs down. They're finally starting to unload, and they're unloading fast. We've, of course, completed the stuff for Bryson. We're ready to get our first interchange, so let's take a moment and do that. How many cars do we get? 22 cars. Well, that's a lot of cars. So, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make 11 the passenger engine today. And 11... well, no, hang on. That's not what we want. We want 11 to hold up here for a sec. First, we will have 12 move the local cars out of the way. And then 11 can take the Bryson cars with the passenger car and start making the run to Bryson. And we're not going to have 12 turnaround because it's just going to stay around here. I think we'll also have 12 to the ELA cars. Well, yeah, if we're going to run the mixed train, we'll have 12 to the ELA cars. When we get to a dedicated freight to Bryson, then we'll have it take the ELA cars too and just switch them on the way back. And of course, our log cars are empty, which is what we'd expect, because it takes 44 total. And we just dropped off, well, 15, and it's already burning through them. So once we get these cars delivered, we're gonna have to make another run for logs really quickly. Now, in terms of our Roundhouse research, the first day's 2,000 bucks is kicked in, and we've gained an extra 1,000 pounds of tractive effort, which doesn't really do us any good because the next engine is the G16, so we need this up to 16,000 pounds minimum before we can get anything. Now, if we can get enough money today, then I would like to bump that number up to at least 3,000. But, we'll see. For the time being, we're just going to kick this out of the way so that the other train can make its move. Then we'll start dealing with how to actually switch it. 937 tons. And if we break off the cars not going to well, if we break off the Bryson cars, we break off a lot of cars. And it's still going to be very slow going with this little thing. Well, we can't buy anything else to scrap. Could get a Boonton coach and take it to Bryson and repair it, though. Well, if we get a little more money, we can do that. And that's not a bad idea because one coach isn't going to be enough for very long. By the way, starting with, now that we have Bryson, I'm going to be moving all overhauls to the Bryson Roundhouse. Whittier's just going to be like a little running repair shop. Now, we are still going to want to get stuff to scrap if we can. But right now it doesn't look like there's anything. I mean, we could get a second coach to scrap. We could just get the first coach to scrap, really. In fact, we might end up doing that. We'll get that one to scrap, and then maybe the other one to fix. Assuming we get enough money. Which does mean our research will probably get set back a little bit. but, you know, only so much we can do. And yeah, we've got one car for each spot, pretty much. Nothing for the freight house this time. We have a couple for Ela Farm Supply, one for Whittier House Track, okay. 2 for Stenzel, 1 for Hollowfield, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 for the sawmill, which is about what I expected. And if we take any cars over for scrapping, we'll do that in a separate train. We're not going to try and overload the first train even more than it already will be. Hope everyone's having a good day. And we'll stop this stuff here. Now, we do need to be on the other end for just about all of these cars. So, yeah. Probably what we'll do is once 11's out of town, we'll have 12 come around to this end and we'll start sorting things a bit more. We'll break off the Stenzel cars, or I guess let's call them the town cars, town and Ela cars, onto a separate track, and then we'll start putting the sawmill stuff away. Hello, AJ Mercer. Glad you could tune in. So how much is 11 going to be pulling? Keep in mind, most of these cars are loaded. There's only like 2 empties in here. Whereas this one, I'd say most of them are empty because they're going to the sawmill. $424 tons. Alright, we'll have you go get your car, the passenger coach, and turn on the jet light. And then you can start making your run over to Bryson. Yeah, comparing this list to the other one. Yeah, unfortunately, following our rule of we can only buy things for scrap that we can buy on the regular market, it's just the one Boonton coach. We do want to buy stuff to scrap though, because that's also going to be our main way of getting repair parts and money. We'd get $2,500 for scrapping that car effectively. So scrapping things is a good way of getting revenue if you can do it right. And we are running a bit low on parts here. Well, not too bad. Alright, we'll tell 12 to move over. Go get the coach. And then 11 can move autonomously to Bryson. The first 2 cars and the last one can be switched in this direction. They'll have to run around for all the rest. So I might send this train into track 2 on Bryson. Oh, and I guess we should probably check the oil on all these things too. This looks like they're full. Must be something up with the, oh, there we go. Must be related to auto engineer or something. Alright. Move up to here. Let's check the other cars. Only a couple of them are really going anywhere. Oh, but that one's pretty dang low. I really don't want things catching fire if I can help it. Yeah, these ones just need a little top off. That one would have caught fire. That one's good. That one's good. That one's fine. So with 11 now on its way to the main yard, we'll focus on getting 12 string together. So, first I think we want to shove this a little bit more. Just get this car clear. And then we can move these cars over and deal with them. Oh man, this engine is so slow. And it's gonna be so long before I can get another one. So, note to self, unless you want a major challenge at the start, don't have this thing installed when you start a game with Roundhouse Research. And oh, a little more, a little more. There we go. I'll just leave those there for a moment. And we'll get these ones. I think we can move these all in at once. That tail track is kind of limited in length, but they do have a small engine. And all this is still 432 tons, or yeah, 252 tons. It's not too bad. More speed. We got a long ways to go. And a short time to get there. I do think probably once we drop these cars off, we'll get the log cars up the hill next. And that way we can start loading those in a hurry. It takes an hour to load them up. But we're going to need to run a lot of loads down. So, well, we'll try and get them done in a hurry. Meh. Not quite. There we go. Now, of course, as the title of this video should suggest, all of the industries we're servicing are at Tier 3. All of them. Every single one. It's all Tier 3. And that's a lot of cars when you got two engines that have a combined 2,400 or 24,000 pounds of tractive effort. So this could get interesting. But again, I think I'm gonna wait till we have at least, I'm gonna say at least 18,000 pounds in a single engine available, like on our roster, before I go expanding beyond Whittier to Bryson. Because otherwise that's just going to be a lot of pain. And I'm probably not going to expand as fast as last time too. No trying to get the fastest possible expo to Alarka. Yeah. Alright. Yeah. And while that's moving, let's go into town. That is loaded, just as I thought. Here's the hoping I don't crash. And that I'm going the wrong way. Ah! Someone didn't line their switches properly, and that someone was me. We'll kick these cars. So we'll kick these ones down that way, and then we'll just park the rest on this track. That is kind of the nice thing about having two different loading tracks here. Yeah, too much. There we go. these ones roll a little more. There you go. Alright, to the logs. While he's going to the logs, I'm gonna buy the first coach to scrap. So while you go up the hill, let's set this up. Hopefully when the clock strikes noon and we can get more used equipment, there'll be something good. Like skeleton log cars. At some point we'll need more. I don't think I'll be able to get the second Boonton coach. Tomorrow though, maybe. We should get a lot of money for hauling logs in though today. Where's the... oh, it's the first one. I'm reading the little thing you're on. Okay. And once again, a little too much on the brakes. And let's get up the hill. We are lined to go up the hill, that's good. And we'll deal with those cars in a bit. Once we've done the hill stuff. Lined. Where's the other train? Other train is almost to Ela. We're gonna slow down a bit here. Don't want to bid it on the turnout again. This thing got beat up last stream because I kept crashing on curves. And once we get these up the hill, we'll do a time skip. With one coach, I'm not too worried about filling up the passenger train. It'll fill itself really quickly. But I would like to get as many loads of logs down as I can. And once again, based on our current research, we do need to have at least 2,500 in the bank at the end of today. If we can. Remember, we'll get some from the logs and the scrapping. So if we get within like 1,500, even 1,000, we should be fine. Yeah, we're not going to be making very fast research progress, unfortunately. And yes, this is the unmodded map. I've got plenty of mods in this game, but New Tracks isn't one of them. And honestly, thank goodness, because these little engines, that's just asking for pain. And unlike Angry Ragtimer, my goal with this stream is not pain and suffering. Little spicy there. Train's still at Ela? I guess it hasn't been there that long. There we go, 52 bucks. Keep looking at this like it's gonna change anything. Just need to get a few of these cars in here. They're all marked for L2, but we're going to change 4 of these to L1 in a second. They should have been L1 already, really. There we go. So those are going to start loading up with logs. Let's get these ones up to actual L2. I don't remember how much log you need on these before they start showing logs. It might just be 0.1. Well, in any case, up the hill we go. I do not plan to make use... Well, shouldn't say that. I don't plan to make use of Walker at the moment. That could change in the future. Could also make things very interesting in the future, but for the time being, we're going to go up Connolly. And passenger train is just getting out the curve at Ela. I think we got enough speed now. We are going to have a lot of switching to do once the other train gets to Bryson. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, we skip 1 hour. And we go back. I will shamelessly use actual time skips. Of course, now I gotta make sure I don't crash going down this hill. Always a challenge. How many times have you derailed, Bob? I don't know, Billy. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to keep track. Let's not be going 33, maybe? Okay, lots of brake here, please. Yoink. Dunk. Alright, and away we go. Down the hill. And this engine feels like it's barely strong enough to be doing this. Why are we doing this with tiny little 440s? Well, that's Roundhouse research for you. I do think it's going to make for some interesting gameplay, because we have to decide, do we buy new equipment? Do we buy used equipment and then pay to repair it, which we'll probably be doing more of? Or do we spend money on research so we can get better equipment? I do think once we get the Combine, it might behoove us to start researching more log cars. Because at some point, that sawmill's going to hit tier 5 and we're going to need more log cars. And better ones. I don't actually remember what the steps for the log cars are, and I'm too lazy to check the current mod settings. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to do that and see what happens. And also, I lied, I'm not too lazy to check the mod settings. $2,000 per log, so we're gonna have to spend $4 grand to get to the next, well, we'll do it anyway. Every $500 counts, you know? And, okay, 11 has reached the station. Apply a little more brake, and we're gonna auto-run this train down to the sawmill. Then we're gonna go to the other train, and assuming it actually hits the station track. Nope, you gotta run a little more. And then we'll start switching all this out. Alright. So now, let's start working on the freight. We're gonna put, I guess, this car on one track, the other 4 cars on another track. And then we'll start working on these 2, getting them where they need to go. On the upside, we only have to, we won't have to take anything back this round. Just the coach. Oh, and I should probably move the turntable over. This might fit without it, but it's gonna be really hard, so why bother? I'll kick the gun over there. That'll load up by the time we're done. Oh no, it won't, because it's full of baggage. The baggage mod strikes again. This is why we need a combine. But we gotta research the combine. So now I'm gonna teleport myself here and we'll realign the turntable. And then we'll just try and hit the brakes on these when it's between these tracks. And when the engine's going the right way. And that way we'll be able to run around it pretty cleanly. And we've dropped off our logs. Excellente. We're gonna finish getting this set up before we go back to the other one. Or at least drop these cars off. We don't need to be going 25 through here. First car goes down. So would that have fit without the table? Just barely, but I wouldn't have been able to do it. I know my limits. So that one will roll pretty nicely down. The other one we are going to need to shove. That's two more. So, waypoint you there, and you will run up to I need you to grab these other cars and drag them into Bryson proper. Battleship Orion. Thank you. Thank you for subbing. So these are the this is the A12. It's based on the Virginian Truckurino. It's a mod. I think it's either Pancakes or Greninja put this into the game. It's a model from Dan Gallery. You can find it on Nexus Mods. It's free. The reason we're starting with these two engines, one in red and one in green, is that we're playing with the Roundhouse Research mod, which requires you to research better and better equipment. You only start with the bare minimum. And because it takes mods into account, we are starting with the lowest tractive effort engine, which is these. They are quite pretty, but it is also a bit tricky to run a railroad with them. Alright, and now 11's ready, so we're gonna auto-mod you to here. And then we'll run 11 for a bit. Now, mind you, I can't remember if I have any mods that allow you to decorate the other bigger engines, except for like the mountains that are intended to be decorated. So the other ones might end up being basic black. But if I do have the mod to re-letter and rename them, I need to make sure I activate that, or get it if I don't have it. So all of this goes that way somewhere. Oh, and I just realized the hopper's on the wrong end of this cut of cars. I'll explain when we get to that part. Alright. Beans. It's gonna take a lot of them to get out of here. Switches, restart again, restart again, restart again. So we do want this switch. And we're not going to shove this thing all the way down because I'm not sure we'd get these other cars back out. We're going to park this at the top of the hill and we'll let gravity do the rest. I cannot remember what DSS&A is. If anyone remembers what that railroad is, I want to say it's Duluth, South Shore, and something? Duluth Superior. Yeah, I don't know. I might have to go look that up. I do like our, this car. The Skelly Oil. That's a nice paint scheme. And that car will go back over there when we're done. Slowly getting repair parts in that car. And 12 will be ready for switching shortly. Pump the brakes on this. We don't want to hit that hill too hard. But we do need air in this car when we hit the top of it. Yeah. Actually, so we want that brake. And are we on the hill? Yes. Oops. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. That's okay. The solution is we lead. Now we need to keep an eye on this car because we're going to need to hit the brake on it pretty soon. For whatever reason, there is a heck of a grade down in the standard oil. Wish I knew how fast this car was rolling. Whee! Got it. So we'll drop off these cars, then we'll head back to 12 and get it sorted out. So we need to go that way. Oh, that way. And we're going downhill, so we don't really need more throttle. Kicks, if we look at the map, Skelly cars are still unloading. Duluth, South Shore, and Atlantic. Okay. I don't know how much I would trust Grok, but I have heard that name before, so it makes sense. So now for the interesting part. You see, both of these cars need to go on this track, but the hopper goes in the back, so we gotta get the hopper out first. And Duluth, South Shore, and Atlantic, once again, a railroad that did not reach all the places in its name. No, I can't say much. We're gonna kick that. We're not gonna kick that. We're gonna go fetch that again because we managed to dump the air on it. We will just do that the regular way. Sometimes kicking doesn't really work out. Flying down that track, maybe a bit too fast. Okay. That's one delivered. Let's get the other one. And at that point, we should crack 1,000 on our money, which is good. That's going to put us right about where I want us. That's true. Everyone, I think almost everyone's heard of the Duluth... Actually, I can't even... Duluth, Mesabi, and Iron Range. Yeah, that one. I think most people have heard of that one. There was another one, I think, besides those two in the Duluth area. Because that's where... They had a bunch of connies go to various tourist railroads. Grand Canyon had a whole bunch of them. One went to Western Maryland Scenic. The Grand Canyon ones have kind of ended up all over the place now. That might have still been Duluth, Mesabi, and Iron Range, but I thought it was a different one. Like Duluth something in Northwestern. And that's all of those delivered. So we're gonna drop this cart scrap loading. How are we doing scrapping wise on these? They both started at 85. The boxcar is not surprisingly further along. So let's come here. First things first, the two boxcars. Then we'll deal with these cars, and then finally we'll send the last two cars to Ela. Actually, probably what we'll do is we'll take them to Ela. We'll go back to the yard and grab that passenger coach, and then we'll just have it take the run to we'll have this thing go all the way to Bryson with it. Well, that might wait till after we do another log drop. I don't know. Nah, we'll just do it all at once, and that way it's one trip out. Save some fuel and time and all that. Okay, next couple cars. Definitely making some interesting choices with kicking. Well, I wonder if this one will just roll up without any further prompting. That would be nice. Keep an eye on it. Yeah, that's got plenty of momentum. So we'll shove those, we'll kick those back, we'll drop this one there. No, we'll just take them all back. We'll go get the one coach. And then we'll come back over. Slow. Slower. That was a little hard. So, I'm not going to expand for a little bit. When I do expand, I will probably head for Alarka Junction first. That way I can unlock Robinson Coal Mine. I'm going to put it this way. I think my goal is more or less to max out this interchange as much as I can going west before I head to Sylva. Having said that, because we're limited to weak engines, I would like to get some stronger engines unlocked before we continue expanding. Let's get at least 3 engines, and one of them that's powerful enough to take the hills on that side. Now, which way is it cheaper to go? Well, if we take a look at the milestones in a second, and I realized I really should have just come in on the main track. Now I've got to seesaw my way over to the coach. Make sure I'm going the right way. Yep, okay. If we look at our milestones, Fontana's going to be 3 rounds of 1,500. That's 4,500 total. Going to Sylva, 7,500. So it's cheaper. So not only is it cheaper to go this way first, we can do it fast. Well, not faster, but it's cheaper and we'll get traffic pretty quickly. Especially if we start the coal mine on Tier 3 as well. And in case you missed it, don't forget to look in this top left corner. You'll see we have some goals this game. We don't want debt. And if we take a look, we have no debt. We need to connect the Sylva to Alarka, and at some point we need to dieselize the entire railway and complete all the research items. I forgot I added the complete all research bit, but I'm glad I did. That means we are going to have to research all the things. Of course, if we add more mods to the game, that's going to get kind of tricky too. Alright, let's knuckle into the Boonton coach. Excellent. And tell you to go back to Whittier. And we'll put you on the side track though. And dunk. All right. One thing to note about the A12, if you choose to get it, it does have wheel slip. I know it doesn't look like it, but if you give it a second. There we go. You have to go, you can max out at about 95. At that point, you're guaranteed not to have wheel slip. And once you go fast enough, it stops slipping. But you do have to be going kind of ludicrously fast for that. So we do have to drop this at Whittier. And then we got to go to Ela and we'll drop these ones off. Hopefully we can drop those off without the coach getting in the way. Probably should have wiped this engine first, but we're gonna live with it. Also should throw that switch. I guess we're in the dirt. We're in the dirt. That's what we are. We are in the dirt. That is not what was supposed to happen. I was trying to throw the switch and I think I threw it twice. That is unfortunate, as they say. Yeah, that's not good. We're gonna play it. We're playing it. It's not good. We're playing it. I could also just take that back to the repair shop, but I'm not going to. We'll take it back to the repair shop when we're done, when it's unloaded. If I remember. Actually, you know what? I don't really want the reputational damage. We're gonna take this back to the repair shop. It is gonna slow us down. But let's give our customers a nice car. See, that's what went wrong, is I clicked it, and sometimes when you click these, it doesn't register that you've clicked it. So you have to click it again, and it either missed my click twice, or it picked it up twice. I don't really want to shove these all the way, so we're going to put those there for a moment. Is that lazy? Is it genius? I don't know. Oh, and we're down 2 lock cars already, so that's good. Now, the true test of laziness is that I'm about to do this. We're just going to let that thing coast into the repair track. after double checking to make sure it is going to go to the repair track. And that way we can get this thing rolling faster. Although, I don't see why I'm doing this, because we're not going to make it to Ela in time anyway. The other train will get there first. So now we're going to take this to the edge of, I guess to the edge of Whittier. And wait for the other train. So, how long is to repair this thing? 2 hours. Okay. It'll be ready by the end of the in-game day. That's all I care about. And no, I don't dare haul people in this thing. Our passenger reputation would take a massive hit. As it is, the wrecks yesterday brought us down to 77% operations. I'm surprised we still have a good overall reputation. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I really need to remember to just do this sort of thing on the map instead of trying to do it in person. You know? And we are going to advance an hour once the passenger train gets back. But what we might do is we might just, like, end the stream after we've dropped off these cars. Because there's not going to be a whole lot exciting except moving the one flat car over to the repair tracks. So, yeah, I'll probably just play through off camera once we drop all these cars off. Because, again, it's just going to be logs and the one flat car. Probably just looking over the suspension and re-oiling, given how I stayed upright. Well, you say that, but it's kind of hard to derail things on their sides in this game. Everything just kind of slides off the side of the track. It's not like Derail Valley where things can go hurtling hilariously into a canyon. We're actually, yeah, we need a backup. We're going to be blocking the other track, so we should probably move. Actually, what I could have done is I could have just skipped time after dropping the car off and done it now. Again, it doesn't make that much difference. And 11 has just gotten to Ela, so let's go look at 11. And it's full of people for Whittier. I don't think we actually did anything with this stop. But it is gonna... So, you know what? We're just gonna run this manually now. Get this thing out of the way in a hurry and try not to break it. Like we did the other one. And this way we don't have it slipping its way out of Ela. We can go a little faster better throw that switch so we don't crash into the other train. Yeah, we're typically good through 40, except for this one corner. I've played this a bunch now. My little secret is that I've got a second save that I started a little before this one. It's got the same, overall the same restrictions. Initially I didn't have the scrapping restriction of you have to be able to buy it regular too. But that means I have a bit of experience with how to do this now. I'm scratching the paint on that. So I do know how fast you can run through here. I do have a few ideas on how to keep my research efficient, but not run out of money. And also make sure I have money to buy things once I've researched them. That's also kind of important. Don't want to hit that siding switch too fast. You smell Kenosha and the scent led you to this stream. Now, Susan Lua, whatever would make you think I would have a Kenosha moment? What could possibly make you think that? Surely not the fact that one of my engines is slightly brown. Perish the thought. Bryson. We do need to service the stations twice. Please note that while you might smell Kenosha, you're not going to hear it on this stream. I try to keep that song out of the playlist for obvious reasons. Except for a couple occasions where it's funny to do so. I'm screaming into the station. So we'll unload all the people for Whittier, and then we'll load up people for Ela and Bryson. And once we've done that, we'll send it out again. I wonder if we'll be able to get the full car if we're going to run out of baggage space again. And Sawmill is sawing nicely. Yeah. Just gonna enjoy watching this guy run down. And again, once we've dropped off all these cars, we'll call stream. But that's gonna be a bit, so don't go anywhere yet. Please. Now, fill the yard at the harbor with hand cars in Derail Valley, yes. Explosives, hand cars everywhere. Wow. I didn't even realize you could summon more than one hand car, unless that's a mod. That sounds hilarious. Well, I think we'll get a full load in there. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna skip time. And celebrate the fact that we got more money! Alright, so you need to run back to Bryson. Okay, in Sandbox, that would make sense. Once again, we're gonna put you there. And then let's go back and see what the sawmill looks like. Are we... We're almost ready to make another log run. Okay, that hasn't updated. We might be able to afford that second Boonton coach today. I don't think so, though. So next we need to run around this train so we can drop the cars. I'm not too worried. Well, I guess I'll pretend to worry about blocking the road. A few hand cars flew halfway across the map and onto mountains. What'd you do? Blow up one of those nukes in there? No, you said missiles or tankers. Still, that is nuts. And that is certainly what you call shenanigans. Now, I might just shove that coach all the way. Just to be honest. Well, no, yeah. Because I can easily use the Y to get it turned around when we drop it off. I do believe... Whoa! I forgot to set handbrakes on those. I forgot it's slightly downhill here. Yeah, I have seen the results of using the narrow gauge mod. It is quite silly. Passenger train is almost here. I kind of want to get this out before the passenger train shows up. Just because that way we can stay ahead of it, because I can run this thing faster than the AI will run the passenger train. I've mentioned this in a previous stream. Yes, Eugene Kleiss, welcome back. Oh man, that track is not very long. Bonk. Just knocked a couple more points of health off. I forgot this, the tail on this is not particularly long. Alright. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So one of the other mods I have, it's LEGO Train's Better Caboose mod. Yep, bonk. And one of the things it does is it puts speed limits on all the AI trains. If you run without a caboose, 25 miles an hour. With a coach on the back, 35. With a caboose, 40. With an obs car, 45. But that's only for AI. So if I run the train, I can run it as fast as I want until, you know, I go in the dirt again. Speaking of going in the dirt. So we're just gonna shove this thing back till we get to Whittier, or to Bryson. Oh wait, this one's got a speed limit too. Once we get past here, pretty much, the AI can only go so fast, whereas I can, yeah, freebird it. Now, because I sold the caboose at the start of the game, I can't have my AI trains go 40 miles an hour. And at some point I will probably buy a new caboose to remedy that. You do start with all of your cabooses available. But at the moment I don't see much point because we've got the 440s and they can barely go track speed as is. Maybe once I get something a little more powerful, we'll invest in a cheap caboose. Or two. I don't know. But again, priority is going to be engines. Get engines, get better cars. I want my combine. I'm like Midland, I like combines. And the other train is just hitting that 30 curve. And at this point, we can more or less coast our way into Bryson. So, firstly, money. Remember that we have to pay for all this research? That takes money. And since I rushed to get the line to Bryson, I needed money to pay for the upgrades too. Second, recall that normally the caboose doesn't do anything. With the mod, it Well, it speeds up your train oiling, I guess, which is good, but we're not running... We don't have very long trains in the first place. And also, I just don't like the starter caboose because it can only ever be white. You can't customize it to a different color. So, that's why I sold the caboose. Don't worry, we'll get one later. And also remember, the normal cabooses don't haul people. If you have the charter caboose mod, then you can buy cabooses that haul people. And in my last season, I did have some charter cabooses for hauling people. But not this one. Because the problem there is I would have charter cabooses as my starter passenger cars. And I didn't want charter cabooses for my starter passenger cars because that would suck. I wouldn't be able to haul anyone. So I turned them off. And we got the Boonton coaches. I'm not sure why it made the Boonton coaches the base as opposed to like the... What is it? The open platform coach? Whatever they call it. So, not that. Yes, that. And we're going to need to slam the brakes when you hit the depot. The other train has just gotten through Gov Island. Alright, so this will go right there. And yes, I am scrapping another one of these things. Once again, I bought it cheap, and I could get a lot of money for scrapping it, so we are. The starter 2 engines I will never scrap. Those are precious. But any other engines we buy from here out, when they're done, they might go to the scrapyard, or they might just get sold. Normally. Depends on how much I can get for them. I'll even take a little bit of a loss for scrapping compared to selling, because you can get the scrap and repair parts for them. But ideally, they'll be in good enough condition that scrap won't be an issue. And there we go. So I'm going to waypoint this engine back to Bryson. Or not to Bryson, back to Whittier, and so it can do another log run. Yeah, well this is the base livery, which is just black. I manually recolored these ones. So, they all look like Reno, it's just that one I didn't bother to change the color on it. But I could. I can make it gray. Or light blue. Or an ugly yellow. We'll make it an ugly yellow for now. Supposedly I can change the lettering color too. I haven't actually tried doing that. There we go. We'll make it look ugly. But meanwhile, the passenger train is also here. So we are going to reset this to go back as well. And again, once it's unloaded, we will be sending it back as well. And also advancing time another hour. Now the challenge, of course, being that since 12 now has nothing, it can't go very fast. The AI is going to limit it to 25 miles an hour. So it's going to need a head start over this one to stay out of the way. Which it should get, because this is still going to take a while to unload. In any case, we have managed to make quite a bit of money today. Even accounting for the fact that we bought that other Boonton coach to scrap. We are doing pretty darn good. Now, will we make enough money to get that other Boonton coach? I don't know. You know, I've heard that documentary is out there. Somehow I haven't watched it myself, except for maybe the last bit. I'm not sure why. Sometimes I just have a hard time sitting down to watch things. Okay, are we going to have enough baggage space? I'm not positive. In fact, it looks like the answer is no. We're now out of baggage space. That is a major disappointment. So, let's send this one back. And that's more or less going to do it for the stream, folks. We've gotten pretty far. There's not really anything else to do today except run trains back and forth. That waypoint did not work for some reason. I think I waypointed the wrong thing. Where was it? Oh yeah, we're doing pretty well overall. There's not really anything else to do today, so we're just gonna let these things do their thing, and I'll probably do another stream at the end of this in-game day when we're putting away or taking things back to the interchange from the sawmill. That'll be either Wednesday or possibly this weekend. But until then, I hope you all have a good night. Take care. See you next time.